You spend the entire day trying to control every outcome, every opinion, every future possibility. And still, the anxiety only grows. The more you plan scenarios in your head, the heavier your chest feels. The more you try to guarantee nothing will go wrong, the more paralysis comes. Why? Because you're fighting against something that was never fully under your control. You're not weak for feeling this. You're just stuck in a cycle your own mind created, pretending you can predict and avoid all suffering. Here's the truth. Anxiety doesn't decrease with more mental planning. It decreases when you stop running from the worst-case scenario and look straight at it. Sounds contradictory? That's exactly what ancient warriors did before every battle. They meditated on their own death, not to give up, but to free their minds from fear. In this video, you'll discover the technique that transformed ordinary men into unshakable warriors. It's not about becoming numb. It's about gaining brutal clarity. And by the end, you'll have a simple method to apply today, in the middle of your routine, without needing hours of meditation or spiritual retreats. If someone filmed your mind right now, how many future scenarios will be running simultaneously, pulling you in every direction? Let me tell you an ancient lesson that still works. It was the night before battle. The young warrior woke before dawn, as he always did. But this time, his body didn't obey like in training. His hands trembled holding the sword. His stomach tightened. His mind raced. What if I fail? What if the enemy's blade is faster? What if everything I trained for is enough? He knew every movement, had repeated it 1,000 times. But now, facing the real possibility, fear was greater than all preparation. He looked around. Other warriors had also woken early, but they weren't restless. They sat, eyes closed, breathing deeply. Some even seemed to smile slightly. He approached one of them, a veteran of many battles, asked voice low, "How can you stay so calm? Tomorrow we might die." The veteran opened his eyes slowly. "I already died this morning." The young warrior didn't understand. The veteran continued, "While you fight death in your mind, I've already accepted it completely. I've already seen my body fallen, already felt the last breath, already said goodbye to everything. Now I'm free." When you accept the worst, fear loses control, and your mind finally becomes clear to act. Maybe you're not going to a real battle, but your mind treats every presentation, every difficult conversation, every important decision as if you were. The mechanism is the same. You try to mentally avoid failure, rejection, judgment, loss. And the more you avoid, the more anxiety grows. Because mentally avoiding doesn't solve anything. It only feeds the cycle. The human brain evolved to detect threats. Makes sense. But it can't differentiate between a real threat and an imaginary one. To your brain, losing your job and being attacked by a predator activates similar alarms. And the default response? Run, avoid, postpone, distract. You check your phone, eat something, turn on the TV, scroll the feed. Anything to not feel. But running from discomfort only makes it worse. How many times have you avoided making the difficult call, and the anxiety only increased? How many times did you postpone the decision, and the weight got heavier? This isn't lack of courage. It's a mental pattern that can be reversed. You don't need to be hostage to your own head. There's a simple and direct path out of this. The ancient masters taught something that seems brutal, but is profoundly liberating. They said, accept death before it arrives. Not in a morbid way, in a practical way. Because when you meditate on the worst possible scenario and accept it completely, something changes inside. Fear loses the power to paralyze you. The logic is simple. Fear is resistance to what might happen. When you stop resisting and face it mentally, the resistance disappears. What remains is clarity. Think of a blade being sharpened. Each pass on the stone removes excess. Acceptance does the same with the mind. Removes excess imaginary fear. What remains is the essential, the necessary action. The rule is clear. What you avoid controls you. What you accept frees you. I'm not talking about giving up. I'm talking about looking straight at the worst scenario, feeling it completely, and then realizing, even if it happens, you survive. Even if it goes wrong, you continue. And when your mind truly understands this, anxiety loses strength. Here's the practical method you can use today. You don't need hours. You don't need incense or a special environment. You need 5 minutes of brutal honesty with yourself. The protocol has 3 simple parts, and you'll do them in sequence, like steps on a mountain. First part, small size. You'll set aside 5 minutes of your day, always at the same time. Could be morning before starting work. Could be night before sleeping. The important thing is it's always the same moment. In these 5 minutes, you'll sit, close your eyes, and ask one single question. What's the worst possible scenario in the situation making me anxious now? Don't run from the answer. Let it come. If it's fear of being fired, visualize being fired. If it's fear of being rejected, visualize a rejection happening. Feel the discomfort. Don't try to push it away. This is the sharpening of the blade. Every second you endure looking fear in the face, the blade becomes sharper. Second part, fix time and trigger. Choose a clear trigger. Could be right after morning coffee. Could be as soon as you sit at your work desk. Could be before brushing your teeth at night. The trigger creates automaticity. You don't depend on motivation. You just keep the small commitment. Every day, even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. Because it's exactly on these days that the old pattern tries to return. Avoid, distract, run. And it's on these days you need the small victory. Visualizing fear for 5 minutes is already a victory. Third part, continuity rule. Don't break the chain. If you did it today, do it tomorrow. If you failed yesterday, restart today. No drama, no heavy guilt, just return. The power isn't in the perfect day. It's an imperfect but constant sequence. It's like climbing the mountain. Some days you climb 10 steps. Some days you climb 2. But as long as you don't stop completely, you're climbing. The blade metaphor continues here. Every day you face fear mentally, the blade gets sharper. Every day you run, the blade rusts a little. You don't need a big heroic moment. You need small daily moments of mental courage. And mental courage isn't not feeling fear. It's feeling it and looking anyway. The ego hates this. The ego wants a big beginning, wants the epic decision, wants instant transformation. But real transformation is slow, invisible at first, powerful in accumulation. So don't expect to feel zero anxiety after 3 days. Expect to feel a little less control of anxiety over you, and a little more of your control over your mind. That's what grows, internal autonomy. I knew someone who was paralyzed by social anxiety. Every work meeting was mental torture. Days before, they'd already start imagining, what if I say something stupid? What if they realize I don't know enough? What if they judge me? This person tried everything. Breathing techniques, positive affirmations, even avoided coffee before meetings. Nothing truly worked until they applied the simple method. Every day, at 7 in the morning, after coffee, they'd sit for 5 minutes, close their eyes, and go straight to the worst scenario. Visualize saying something wrong in the meeting. Visualize people laughing. Visualize being humiliated. Felt the shame. Felt their chest tighten. But didn't run. Stayed there. Breathed deeply. And continued. At first, it was horrible. 5 minutes felt endless. But they continued. Every day, even on good days, even on days without scheduled meetings. The trigger was fixed. Coffee, sit, 5 minutes. 2 weeks later, something changed. At the next real meeting, anxiety came, but smaller, because their mind had already lived that scenario so many times it lost impact. It became familiar, and what's familiar doesn't scare as much. More importantly, on a bad day, when they almost gave up on the method, they did it anyway. Only 3 minutes that day, but they did it. And it was on these bad days they realized the method doesn't depend on being well. It depends on showing your mind you won't run anymore. 6 months later, social anxiety still existed, but it didn't control anymore. It became something that appeared, was felt, and passed. The change didn't come from a motivational peak. It came from invisible consistency of facing fear every day, 5 minutes, without exception. Now it's on you, not tomorrow. Now, Choose a situation that makes you anxious. Just one. Close your eyes for 3 minutes and visualize the worst scenario happening. Feel the discomfort. Don't run. Just observe. This is already practice. This is already the beginning of the blade being sharpened. If this method makes sense to you, subscribe to the channel and leave in the comments, what's the worst scenario you're going to face mentally today? I want to know. Let's create a community of people who don't run anymore. Mental preparation without daily action becomes just theater of the mind. Talking about anxiety without facing fear changes nothing. Accepting the worst scenario mentally frees you to act in the real scenario. Small daily moments of mental courage build solid internal autonomy. Silent consistency always beats noisy motivational peaks. The fear you avoid grows. The fear you accept diminishes. The young warrior understood. The next morning before battle, he sat with eyes closed. Visualized the enemy blade. Visualized his own fall. Felt fear course through his entire body. And then, something strange happened. The fear stayed there, but lost control. He stood up, gripped his sword, and entered battle with a clear mind. Not because he was certain of winning, because he had accepted the possibility of losing. And that acceptance made him free to truly fight. You have a postponed decision, an avoided conversation, an unfaced fear. Today, now, set aside 5 minutes. Close your eyes. Go straight to the worst scenario. Feel it, accept it, and then act. Doesn't need to be big. Needs to be real. A phone call, an email, 10 minutes of work on the project. Anything you've been postponing because your mind stayed trapped in fear.